So, I saw Captain Marvel the other day. And you guys know me, man. You guys know me. I'm too real. I'm too real. So I'm going to tell you guys like it is. Okay, I've seen a lot of people. I've read their titles. I haven't watched their reviews. I don't like watching reviews until after I have filmed my own, so I'm not influenced by them. I've only seen one review of Captain Marvel. And I'm going to give my own. Like I said, guys, I'm real. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel. I'm going to tell you like it is. Like it is. Not like it is, like it is. Okay. So, Captain Marvel, man. How do I feel about this movie? Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to put it plain and simple to you guys, alright? Captain Marvel is okay. That's it. It's okay. Alright, you guys have a good day. See you later. Alright, with that being said, I just hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Okay, fine. I will extrapolate on what I mean by okay. So, Captain Marvel, where do I start with this movie, man? Let's start with some of the action scenes and then move on to what I think is the most important thing, and that's kind of the characters or the portrayal of Captain Marvel as a character, right? So, first of all, I hate shaky cam. I hate it so much, and I'm going to make a point to say this. At the beginning of the movie, there's a lot of shaky cam. I hate it. Okay, so the action wasn't really doing it for me at the beginning of the movie, but as the movie went on, some of the action kind of became a little bit more focused. There was still some janky cuts that really didn't show what was happening, and I really didn't appreciate that. But it seemed, as the movie went on, the action scenes certainly did get better until eventually you got to a point at the end where, like, now you can actually see what is happening and you can see the impact, and like now we kind of like have some action scenes that are kind of okay versus some of the awful stuff we had at the beginning. There was the one train scene like in the trailers. That one was pretty good. The only problem was, like I said, the way it was cut was you kind of missed some of the impact, and it was kind of hard to follow at points sometimes. So like I said, I didn't really like that too much. But at the end, like especially oh wait, should I explain that there will be some spoilers in this? There are going to be some spoilers here. And at the end, when she finally like unleashes her full power and she goes, I don't know if she could consider it the binary form. I don't know if she really went binary, but she was definitely outputting more of her power. That's really when you could see like the action, like, and like when it was the CGI and her doing stuff, no more shaky cam. Like you could see her actually unleashing her power, and that was cool. That was fun. So overall, the action was just, it was all right. It was okay. It wasn't awful. Say for the first action scene, that was awful. But apart from that, it was okay. Like there's nothing really to take home about Captain Marvel. It was just an all right movie, all around. There are a couple of problems that I think are fair to say about the movie. For example, Captain Marvel as a character by herself is very poorly defined. And if you think that makes a bad character, I could see that, and I could agree with that for a good bit. Captain Marvel as a character is kind of a blank slate, and they kind of had the opportunity to really make what they wanted because she isn't really the most established superhero you could find. I don't even think like in the comic books there's really like anything before Civil War 2, because Civil War 2 made Captain Marvel look like a freaking dick. Like if you kept up with Civil War 2, the Marvel crossover event, like she looked like she was a straight jackass in that one. But apart from that, as Miss Marvel, she was just always kind of there from what I'd seen. So there's not really much to take home about. So there was an opportunity to kind of do whatever you wanted with Captain Marvel without anyone saying, well, that's not right, because I don't think most people even knew like who Carol Danvers was supposed to be. And so in this movie, you didn't really have like the strong, empowered female I don't need no man. Like that really wasn't the air or the atmosphere I got from it. They did a really good job of showing Nick Fury as pretty capable on his own. Like obviously, like he's not the badass super spy he is in the Avengers, but he's got some skills, and he's kind of funny. They work off very well together. Samuel Jackson and Brie Larson, they do work off well together. There aren't really like gut-wrenching moments where you're just laughing, but they were fine enough as partners. I think one of the most common things people say is it felt a little bit like a buddy cop movie towards the middle, and I would say, yeah, I could definitely see why you would say that, because they spent a good amount of time together, and they worked well. But Captain Marvel is, if I'm going to focus on her specifically, there isn't really anything that's really definitive about her apart from the fact that she is very snarky and she's very sure of herself. Those are the character traits I can really pick out about her that really stick out to me. You know, she definitely had an air of experience to her, which I think is kind of reasonable because she's been like a part of the Green Lantern Corps for about 6 years. Oh wait, sorry, she was a part of the Kree military force for 6 years. So yeah, I can see that. She kind of was very cavalier, especially about the scrolls and everything. She didn't really take much too seriously until like towards the like plot twist in the movie. That's kind of when you really saw that she definitely is a person who tries to be righteous, who tries to do the right thing no matter what. But there isn't really much of an anchor as to why she feels that way. You also get a couple of snippets of her past, and by snippets, I really do mean like legit like 10 seconds like into her past, and you can kind of see what they were going for with her. She was, as a kid, she was a bit tomboyish. She liked doing adventurous things, but apparently her dad really didn't support her in that area. But again, that was kind of alluded to, like literally for all of 10 seconds. So you can kind of interpret what they were going for, and they were trying to create like a tomboyish girl who kind of wanted to, pave her own way and do her own thing. That's pretty much what they were trying to go for. So I guess in that respect, if you heard anyone say that, this is a feminist film, I mean, sure, as far as girls like trying to particularly be masculine and compete with boys, yeah, certainly you could get that out of it. But as far as a feminist film and creating empowered female characters that are like really awful and only look cool because the males around them are bitch ass niggas, no, you didn't really get that. I didn't really get that tone from Captain Marvel. But again, specifically focusing on the character, because I think that this was the weakest part of the film, and I think what it should have been the most important part, because Captain Marvel isn't really challenged in the film externally, and she isn't really challenged internally all that much either. There's really nothing that she really had to overcome in the movie apart from just kind of reclaiming the memories that she lost, and even then that wasn't really like a huge challenge for her or anything like that. I think really the movie just kind of didn't know what to do with her. They didn't know what challenges to really present to her because she can't output so much power. And I do think that it was okay for this movie in particular. I do think that for Captain Marvel to kind of more focus on the character, or what it should have done was focus on the character, not really trying to like show her off, or maybe like show her off, maybe to get like people excited for Infinity War. Maybe that's really more what it is. I think if you could say anything about Captain Marvel, it really is the Marvel movie that exists as an advertisement for the next Marvel movie. I'm sure you've heard that criticism before. That fits Captain Marvel to a T. It really is, because, like I said, there isn't really much that happens in this movie that you really need to see. I'm kind of going all over the place now that I think about it. There are a couple of like trivia moments. You find out, how Nick Fury got the Tesseract. That was cool. There's a couple. You just kind of learn trivia. There isn't anything deep or really introspective about this movie, I have to say. It was just very average. There's action scenes. There's some good acting. Brie Larson, she's not a bad actress. A lot of people say she's bad, but I mean, her awfulness was not shown in this film. There was another actress that definitely outacted her, which I don't know how that happened. Maybe it's just the script wasn't good for her. But I guess to go back to the character, like I said, you can see that you can see where they're going with her, but there isn't really anything I could say that really summarizes who she is, what her challenges are, and what she overcame, because she really didn't have to overcome anything. They tried to set up this character arc where she was unfocused and she couldn't control her emotions, but you never actually saw her being prone to outbursts. You never actually saw her having real difficulty controlling how she feels. So that character arc, maybe that's in the first draft they were going to try to make her a little more rambunctious and kind of out there and doing her own thing, but she really wasn't like that, so that character arc really didn't pan out. Like, if I'm going to give you guys an example of what I mean, let's look at Tony Stark, actually. I think he's a good example of what I mean when I say a really greatly defined character, right? Like, if you look at Tony Stark, who is he? He is a billionaire who is really tough to get along with. He's really snarky. He's quite the asshole, and he thinks he's pretty much better than everyone else, and he knows what's going on a lot more than anyone else does. But beyond all of that, what you really see is a man who's trying to make up for the death and destruction his technology has caused for the world. You see a man who, despite the fact he's really hard to get along with, he really does care about the world, and he really does care about people, and he really is trying to do his best to use his technology and his intelligence now to help people and protect the earth rather than to destroy anything and hurt people anymore. And you could say that it's not fair that you say Tony Stark is more of a defined character than Captain Marvel because he's had 3 movies and he's appeared in the Avengers and everything else. But I have to argue, no, I do think it's totally fair, because the description of Tony Stark I just had was of him in Iron Man, not him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's him in Iron Man. That's who he was in Iron Man. That's what his challenge was in Iron Man. And sure, he had to fight Obadiah Stane, in the end, who's a greedy, warmonger, I think his suit was legitimately called Warmonger, wasn't it? Or Ironmonger. Yeah, so, he did fight that one guy. Like, that was his external challenge. But the internal challenge that Tony Stark had was trying to do something good with his technology to protect people rather than use it to just cause destruction. And we could do the same thing with Spider-Man. You didn't really get this in Homecoming, but if you read the comic books and watched the TV shows, Spider-Man's modus operandi is with great power comes great responsibility. He does the right thing because he has the power to do it and no one else can. So he's going to do what's right even if it causes him pain to himself and it might hurt his own life, because he has the responsibility, because he has the power. That's a very defined trait of Spider-Man, and you can see it consistently. You didn't really get that in Homecoming, which is one of my problems with the movie, but I've talked about that way back when. But again, you can see where his character is coming from, or how you're supposed to make a Spider-Man character. Excuse me. With Captain Marvel, you don't really get that. I couldn't really tell you why she was a good person or why she was a good guy, other than because she's supposed to be. She is snarky, but that's kind of it. That's really all I can give you. The movie didn't really do a very good job of really portraying what makes Captain Marvel special, and it kind of really goes to show you why the trailers only really focused on the fact that she was a woman, because they couldn't really show you who she was as a person, because there really isn't a lot of who she is as a person. There really isn't enough of a character study, I feel, into Captain Marvel, but I do think that there are some good things there. They just didn't do anything with it. So honestly, I have to say that was definitely the weakest part of Captain Marvel. And at the end of the day, I have to say this, like, all of the press that surrounded Captain Marvel really did the film a disservice, because the film just turned out to be okay. It has its own problems, as I just described. That's the biggest problem, really. Everything apart from that was serviceable. Everything apart from that was okay. Everything apart from Captain Marvel being poorly defined as a character is it's whatever. It's a Marvel movie. You see explosions, action scenes, whatever. But I do feel that the movie should have been more of a character drama. It didn't, I don't think, because of Captain Marvel being so strong, she didn't really need to fight like another supervillain that had the same amount of power. I don't think that was necessary. What I do think was necessary was to showcase what made her special and what made her who she was. And I don't think the movie was very good in that. I think the movie failed. We do have some personality traits, but we don't really have a core of who she is, how she feels, and like how she relates to everyone else. And I think that is where the movie fails and what we should have gotten with it. So at the end of the day, I have to say Captain Marvel for me gets, I would say, about a good 6 out of 10. And the reason why I give it a 6 out of 10, the CGI was fine, the action scenes were fine, the acting was fine, everything was just fine. It was still nice to see, the trivia and the snippets and whatnot. But legitimately, it's just an average okay movie. There's nothing to take home about with it, and that's why I'm giving it slightly above average, right? So there you go. So that's my review of Captain Marvel. I do not agree with anyone that says this was an awful movie. I don't agree with anyone that says that this was some feminist film piece. Even Brie Larson or the director, whoever was projecting that bullshit, it's just that bullshit. It's not a feminist film piece. It's just a Marvel movie that has a woman in it. That's it. That's all it is. And I guess maybe one day I might have to like really critique feminist films and really show you guys why I don't feel like Captain Marvel fits this and really show you guys what I mean by that. But I don't want to be here all day. I just have to say that, you know, if anyone made a review of Captain Marvel and they say that it's trash and that it's awful, I don't think it would be fair to say that it's trash and awful because it's a feminist film piece, because it's not. What makes it awful is Captain Marvel as a character is not really showcased as being special, and she's poorly defined. That is where I think the movie fails. So if you see reviews like that, I would wholeheartedly agree with them. But anyone who just lambasts the film is just bad because it is, I think that's bullshit. It's not bad because it is, okay? There's other reasons why it wasn't very good. So, with that being said, man, should you go see Captain Marvel? Do you need to go see Captain Marvel? I have to say, not really. Captain Marvel is not required viewing for Avengers Endgame. It's not required viewing for anything. If you really legitimately just want to watch a movie just because, Captain Marvel is definitely that just because movie. It's like, let's just put something on. Oh, here's Captain Marvel, put it on. That's how average it is. That's how okay it is. You'll be entertained, but you don't. It's not required viewing. So that being said, I assume you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Yeah, shoot, go and click that. Subscribe. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.